Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the show. It's great to be here with you today on this Mindset and Motivation Monday, where we are going to be going through a specific set of laws that were developed many thousands of years ago and passed down throughout the ages. I first heard about them through Ayurvedic-based medicine and Eastern-based philosophy, whether I was in China studying, whether I was in India studying, Sri Lanka studying. The theme of these specific laws of life, of truth, were passed down in all of those major teachings. And that's why one of the things that I believe with all of our advancements in Eastern-based medicine, I should say in Western-based medicine or Western-based philosophy, is that we've forgotten about all of the wisdom that was created and has always been there before us. Sometimes we get so overwhelmed, in sometimes a good way, in the science and state-of-the-art based technologies that we lose the fact that nature has its own sets of laws and principles. And when we break those, that is when we set ourselves up for unhappiness and lack in our life. So that's what I want to take you through today. This is really an amazing podcast for me to put together. And the reason is this, that a few years back, I was following the specific 12-week year principle. And basically, it was a principle in fashion how I live my life, setting 90-day goals and basically breaking up my year into quarters, and I would revisit them every quarter. I've done a specific podcast on that a couple times, and I hope that you check that out. But what I was trying to live my life was, according to these sets of laws, of principles, passed down for, again, every major religion, passed down in all sorts of Eastern-based philosophy. And then all of a sudden I found that there were actually 12 laws of karma, or 12 laws of karmic-based philosophy. And that is what I want to share with you today. It is exactly what I try to live in my own life. And of course, someone has already put pen to paper and really wrote it down in a much more, I would say, convenient and livable based text. So I want to share that with you today. Everything will be available at stevencabral.com/1697. We'll write down those 12 karmic laws for you. I really do hope that you incorporate them into your own life in as much as you are able to. If you do, you are going to see a dramatic, there's no doubt about it, a dramatic increase in your overall love of life and happiness. There's just no doubt about it. All right, so I'm going to share them with you right out of the gates today. And I can link up a few websites as well that also have these 12 laws of karma that everyone should know. All right, the first one is this, the Great Law, or the law of cause and effect. So remember, kind of everything stems from this one. Please remember this as we're going through the 12 laws. We kind of sum it up at the end, but check out this first one. That is this, is the Great Law, or the law of cause and effect. As you sow, so shall you reap. And we've talked about this on our Mindset and Motivation Mondays, but you have to understand is that what you put out into the world is what you are going to get back magnified. That is really how it works. It really is. Now, the problem is when we plant those little seeds, it doesn't necessarily grow and come back to us that next day, right? Or even the same day, the same hour. It is by accumulating, right? It's putting all those seeds out there. Some of them grow and some of them don't. But the more that you put out there, the more that you're going to find your own happiness, your own joy, your own peace coming back to you. And we'll get into it, so I don't want to go too deep in this one. I'm going to spend maybe just a minute or two in each. But really, whatever you put out into the universe, it will come back to you. That is really what it's all about. You have to understand that. I'm going to dive back deeper into that one towards the end, since it is the great law. It really is. All right, number 2 is this, the law of creation. Life requires our participation to make it happen. It doesn't happen all by itself. So essentially what we want to understand is this, the universe gives us clues as to kind of what we're looking for, what we want to do. We put our goals out into the world, but at the end of the day, we must actually be an active participant. So surround yourself with what you want in life and just essentially be yourself, be more of yourself. But you do have to put those words into action. I always go back to it, but the Amish prayer is this, it's that as you pray, move your feet. Be an active participant in life. The number 3, the third law, is the law of humility. One must accept something in order to change it. If all one sees is an enemy or a negative character trait, then they are not and cannot be focused on a higher level of existence. So we must accept something in order for it to change. So again, if we're looking at ourselves in a negative way, we don't like something about ourselves, we have to understand, like, so some things are what they are, right? That we are what they are. We must accept that, but also understand that there are so many great things that we do have in our lives, and we do have to focus on the ebb and flow to life. Some things are better than others, and then more good will come to you. There's just no doubt about that. So I really want to focus on this one just for another second, but it's also the refusal to accept what is will still be what it is. It means that just because we're going through a difficult time in our life right now, we can say, okay, this is, I do this all the time. I sometimes say to myself, you know what, today's not a great day. I'm just honest and trying to be humble about it. And I say, today's not a great day. Wasn't a great day. But you know what? Here's the thing. I'm going to go to bed early tonight. I'm going to wake up early. Tomorrow's going to be a new day. I'll get after it then. By doing that, you say, I accept what is, but I'm going to change it tomorrow. And so that works for me. I just wanted to pass that on to you. Number 4, the fourth is the law of growth. So wherever you go, there you are. It is we who must change and not the people, places, or things around us if we want to grow spiritually and be happy. All we are given is ourselves. This is the only thing we have to have control over. When we change who and what we are within our hearts, our lives follow suit and change too. This is going to come up over and over, but we have to understand this, is that sometimes the cause of our unhappiness is us. It's how we are looking at life. It's how we're looking at the place we live, where we're at, our job, our career, the people around us. It is us who is looking at all of that. So again, this is going to be echoed over and over, but as within, so without. If we are upset about all of the things that are around us, oftentimes we have to look back at ourselves. And I know that we're going to be getting into this, but we have to understand is that we are the ones who go to all of the different places where we are unhappy or not satisfied. We take ourselves to work. We take ourselves to our relationships. We take ourselves to our hobbies, to whatever it might be. So we have to understand is that sometimes if there's a recurring theme in our life, we may have to look inside. Number 5 is this, the law of responsibility. If there is something wrong in one's life, there is something wrong in them. We mirror what surrounds us, and what surrounds us mirrors us. This is a universal truth. One must take responsibility for what is in one's life. Now, again, a lot of this is it's difficult at first to think about. It really is. I talk about 100% responsibility all the time. But a lot of people don't necessarily want to hear that because they say, well, I'm not responsible for that. That person did that to me or this. But we have to understand is that we truly are a magnet for all the things in our life. And people say, well, I didn't attract that car accident. I didn't attract that. It's not about a specific event. It's about what we have going on inside of us. Positivity, happiness, peace, joy, love. If we have those things, we attract those things more quickly, faster, and at a much larger rate into our life. And if we have more negativity, it's not you're trying to attract one specific event, but sometimes negative events are more likely to happen to you. You hear all the time like, oh, that person's so lucky. Well, you get lucky by expecting the law of expectancy. You expect good things to come in your life. When you have a lot of bad luck, well, you expect bad things and negative things to come into your life. We have to understand that this is no longer metaphysics. This is no longer woo-woo-based science. This is actually quantum mechanics, quantum physics. We know that what exists inside of us also exists out in the universe. We know that we are energetic beings. We have to understand is that we are responsible not for every little thing in our life, although one could look at it that way. We are responsible for how we feel. What we feel is even much more powerful than what we think and what we say. So remember, as within, so without. So as within you, so without in all of your life. So if you see all these things in your life, that is a reflection of you. It's not difficult to see what a person believes because you can simply look at their life. Please think about that one for a moment. That has been around since the dawn of time in writing. All right, the next one is this. Number 6, the law of connection. The smallest or seemingly least important of things must be done because everything in the universe is connected. Each step leads to the next step, and so forth and so on. Someone must do the initial work to get the job done. Neither the first step nor the last are of greater significance. They are both needed to accomplish the task. Past, present, and future are all connected. So I love this one as well. And the reason is this, is that sometimes we don't want to do all the little things in life. We really don't, right? There's so many things to do, and oftentimes getting started with something is the hardest part. Like, I don't really want to do that. I don't really want to start the exercise program. I don't really want to go out there and meet people, go online and connect with people, whatever it might be. But honestly, it's those little steps that not only add up in the long run. I know that you've heard that before, but the truth is it's all those little steps that propel you to the next step. It's much more difficult to start with the biggest step first. Start with the smaller ones. Start with walking up to 10,000 steps a day before you get on an exercise bike or go for a jog or do some body weight training or a high intensity interval training workout, right? Start with the steps. Do the steps. If you can do the steps, you can do the next thing. So remember, one step at a time. And if you do that, you're also going to build up wins, right? You start to build up confidence. Like, hey, I did it. Okay, I did this. If I'm looking at my watch, my phone, my ring, any of those trackers, you'll be able to see yourself start to get those steps every single day. And again, that goes for anything and any part of your life. All right, number 7, love this as well. One cannot focus on two things at the same time. If our focus is on spiritual values, it is not possible for us to have lower thoughts like greed or anger. All right, so here's what it means. It doesn't mean that you can't do more than one thing or go for more than one goal in your life. That's not it. Although I do believe if you have a singularity of focus, you are so much more likely to achieve that goal. It's nearly impossible because everything that you're doing at that moment, at all times when you focus on it, is surrounded with thoughts and feelings about achieving that thing. You keep it in your mind's eye, right? So really, really important. But here's another thing, is that let's just say, you're unhappy right now, you're angry, you're mad, you're upset, whatever it might be. If you focus on something you are grateful for, right? Something you love in your life, something that you're proud of, whatever it might be. If you focus on that thing, well, you can't be focusing then on the unhappiness. You can't be focusing on the lack of what you have if you're currently grateful and thinking about what you're grateful for. Remember, you can only think of one thing at once. So the one thing that you focus on can bring you back to the present moment. And we'll be getting to there, which is in 2 from now. Number 8 is this, the law of giving and hospitality. If one believes something to be true, then sometime in their life, they will be called upon to demonstrate that truth. Here is where one puts what they claim to have learned into practice. So this is big, right? So if you believe something and you want that something, and let's say you're trying to provide it as a service, you will be called upon in order to demonstrate that, right? And that's a good thing. It means, are you prepared? And if the answer is no, that's okay, because you're going to continue then to practice every day for game day. Game day is when you are called upon. So again, a lot of us, we say that we have a calling as health coaches, health practitioners, doctors, etc. So we practice that before we get to do it. And one day we're called upon. And it's our job then to do our best, not to be perfect, but to do our best. So I love that as well. All right, number 9. The law of here and now. One cannot be in the here and now if they are looking backward to examine what was or forward to what, what might happen in the future. I talk about this all the time. Depression is living in the past. Anxiety and fear is living in the future. We have to understand that all of these mental health-based imbalances do exist. And it's not as easy as saying, well, don't think about the past and don't worry about the future. I know that it's not that easy. But we have to understand that there's also many levels to this, depending on where you fall. I have bad days as well. If I'm focused about what could go wrong in the future, well, that's going to paralyze me. I'm going to live in fear. I'm going to have anxiety. And of course, if I dwell on what happened in the past and negative things that happened in the past, then I continue to live there in the present moment. We have to understand is that we choose where we want to live from moment to moment in our life. And if we choose to think about the past, we're living there, right? We're living in the past because that is what we're thinking about at that moment. And if we're worried about the future, we also live in worry because we're thinking ourselves into that position. The best thing that you can do is be present, be focused in the here and now. Number 10 is the law of change. History repeats itself until we learn the lessons that we need to change our path. So this is probably never more important than right now, right? We're worried about specific diseases. We're worried about specific states of health. We're worried about the environment. We are worried about politics, all of these different things. And I get it. There's a lot to worry about. But we have to understand is we've been through this before. We've been through this before in different ways, shapes, forms, and words and names for specific health issues. We've made it through those specific times before. But we have to understand is that we can't keep repeating these mistakes. At some point, we have to say, this is the issue at hand. This is the best way to solve it. There will be a little bit of pain involved as we pull off that Band-Aid, but we have to do it because we can't keep making the same mistakes over and over. That it should not be how we live our lives, how we live our personal life, then at a community level, then at a country-based level, and then at a global level as well. So I think just we can only work on ourselves for the most part, right? We all need to work on ourselves, then we can help others in our community, and then hopefully that spreads out across the world. That is the goal. Number 11 is the law of patience and reward. All rewards require initial toil. Rewards of lasting value require patience and persistent toil. True joy comes from doing what one is supposed to be doing and knowing that the reward will come in its own time. So, why this is so important is that I truly believe that you can have everything it is that you want in life. I truly believe that. I wouldn't say that to you if I didn't believe it. I just don't always believe that you can have it tomorrow or even today, right? I believe that you can enjoy the feelings today, which is what we are talking about, right? We are talking about that, is that we need to feel the feelings of what it will be like when we live in that future moment in time of achieving whatever it is that we want to achieve. The family, the relationships, the career, the body, the health, whatever it might be for you. You need to feel the feeling of already having accomplished it. Hold it inside of your heart and your head. And then we can go about doing the things that we know that we need to do, the toil, in order to receive that end goal, but already feel as if it's been done today. Enjoy that feeling today. That will help carry you through anything that you need to do in order to persist. I believe it was Napoleon Hill that said the most important of all of the traits that he studied, of all the most successful people that he was allowed to study, he found that it was truly persistence which enabled successful people to be successful. So if he looked at all the different things all around the world of successful people, he said there was one thing that they all did have, and it kind of rose above all of the others, and it was persistence. So it allowed the person that wasn't as smart still achieve their goals. It allowed the person that didn't have the same amount of resources or finances, whatever it may be, to still achieve their goals because they were persistent. They refused to give up, and they enjoyed that path along the way. Sure, it was hard work, but they knew that it was going to pay off. So be confident knowing that you will receive everything that you've asked for in good time. Have patience. Number 12, the last law is the law of significance and inspiration. One gets back from something whatever they put into it. The true value of something is a direct result of the energy and intent that is put into it. Every personal contribution is also a contribution of the whole. Lesser contributions have no impact on the whole, nor do they work to diminish it. Loving contributions bring life to and inspire the whole. So this is kind of a deeper one, and I'm glad that we're ending with it right here. But what we want to really look at and understand is that we are our own whole in and of ourselves. And we need to contribute on a daily basis in small tasks, larger tasks, medium-sized, moderate-sized tasks, in order to being and doing and achieving everything that we want in life. And that sometimes the actual being and doing are as important along the journey as the getting, as the actual receiving. And at the same time, which gets a little bit deep, everything that we do also contributes as a larger part to the larger whole, which is our community, all the people that we touch in our life and all the people that they go on to touch. And we can see that it begins to create what's called this butterfly effect, right? The flapping of a butterfly's wings are felt for miles and miles away. It is the effect that all of us have on ourselves, on our community, the people that we touch, and those people then all around the world. So there is this beautiful connectedness to all of us and everything that we do. But we have to understand is that we're never going to be perfect, but we do want the sum of everything we do to be great, meaning like we can't be perfect, but we want to do our best. And then that means on a daily basis, hourly basis, minute by minute basis. It's the feelings that we feel, the thinking of the thoughts that we think, and the doing of our actions. All of those things lead down the path, the journey that we're all on. It will take a little bit of hard work, but the hard work will absolutely be dedicated to achieving the goal that you want, and that's going to lead to the ultimate satisfaction that we're all looking for, because in the end, we're trying to do all of these things, achieve the relationships, the family, the health, the body, whatever it is, to ultimately feel love, to ultimately feel happiness in our life. If we can do these things and we can focus on these 12 laws of karma, there's no doubt that we're going to be able to achieve that. So I hope that you enjoyed these 12 laws today. They really solidified how I was trying my best to live my life. And I learned these many years ago, but never in this beautiful format that's been laid out for us. So it's one of those things like the 12-week year and the 12 laws of karma that people have been able to really solidify it to allow us to say, okay, I can focus on these things. And maybe we just focus on one day at a time, and that's great as well. So remember, it all goes back to the great law. I just wanted to sum up with that one, and that's as you sow, so shall you reap, meaning that if we want more, we must do more, we must put more out there in a positive way. But it also means this: whatever you sow, so shall you reap in terms of your feelings and your thoughts. I work with so many people and they're anxious and they're upset and they're depressed, and I get it. And there's a lot of reasons to feel that way. But if we put out more feelings of happiness and we help more people and we try to spread more joy, ultimately that will come back to us as well. Thank you so much for tuning in to another Motivation and Mindset Monday. As always, if this show was helpful, please do feel free to share it with anyone else you believe it could serve.